Hi, my BBs. I hope you're doing well and staying blessed. I have a story about a little girl named Ivy. Her name is Iviona. Her nickname is Ivy. I wanted to talk about a bunch of little girls who were killed by their mother's boyfriends, but I want to talk about the little girls that I don't see a lot in the press, and Iviona is one of them. So, with that being said, let me tell you Ivy's story. Ivy Mae Lewis was 2 years old when she passed away March 18, 2018. She was born April 3rd, 2015, to the so-called parents of Devontae Lewis and Anijah Hoop in Topeka. Ivy was a loving, smart, kind, and gentle girl who had the ability to lift anyone's spirit. She was a mother hen. Iviona took pride in taking care of her two brothers. She survived by her father, mother, brothers, sister, aunt, and many other family members. She was preceded in death by her grandmother, Regina Lewis. Ivy was killed by this monster here, Chaz Steffens. The medical examiner said that Ivy died from blunt force trauma to the head. She had overwhelming injuries to her face, scalp, and thighs. The medical examiner said toxology reports showed the 2-year-old had ibuprofen in her system and methamphetamine in her urine. The examiner said that the methamphetamine is not the cause of Ivy's death and the trauma was not accidental. Chaz was originally charged with first-degree murder. However, that charge was lessened to second-degree murder because he took a plea deal. He was also charged with child abuse, possession of methamphetamine, and possession of paraphernalia. What that paraphernalia was, I don't know. Ivy's body was found in a black trash bag northwest of Hosting, about 3 days after she was last known to have been seen. Ivy's mother claims that the reason why she was reported missing 48 hours after she went missing is because there was some confusion over who was supposed to be caring for her child. Among those testifying in Ivy's murder trial was her mother, father, great-grandmother, and Stephen's parents. Ivy's mother discussed her relationship with Steffens in the days leading up to her daughter's disappearance. She said that her and Steffens was going through a rough patch. That is a quote. And she wrote him a letter saying he needed to get things together or she'll break up with him. She said Steffens was gone so much of the time and they often argue about him not taking care of their son. Hoop said Steffens locked her out the house and she ended up going to her brother's house. This reportedly happened on Sunday in March, the Sunday that Ivy was last seen. Hoop said that she tried to contact Steffens several times and didn't hear back from him until 2 days later, which was on a Tuesday. Lewis testified that Steffens went to pick her up and told her he hadn't seen Ivy since Sunday. They called Steffens' parents and called the police. The police searched areas nearby and the home. Hoop says Steffens told her the door to the home was unlocked or someone got in. She said there is no way Ivy will walk away from home. She admitted Ivy previously had a bruise on her face after spending time with Steffens, but said he was never cruel or she never saw him hurt any of her children. She said Ivy would also have tantrums and sometimes would hit her head on the floor. Steffens' father said his son told him he thought Ivy was with her mother prior to everyone realizing she was missing. He said he talked to his son every week during visits and on the phone since his arrest. He said Steffens told him he was nervous about how people will look at him and he didn't want to be seen as a monster. Stefan's father also testified his son told him there is more information out there and others were involved. Stefan's father said his son also once told him he felt bad and that he was sorry. Ivy's great grandmother, Franny Hoop, said it just took her heart inside out when she learned Ivy was missing. She says, and I quote, I prayed every day that they would find her, and I prayed every day Ivy would be just fine. When they did find her and all these people that searched for her and everything, I just can't thank them enough, she said. Her mother said her daughter's death and investigation has been stressful and depressing. She says, and I quote, I just hope we can get results. I'm relying on results. Ivy's father, Devontae Lewis, said, just waiting for justice for my little girl. Ivy's father continues with saying, yeah, that's all I want is justice. When everything is right and she gets justice, I will be okay. She was a lovable little girl, Ivy's mother said. She loved everyone. Devontae Lewis also claims that he was friends with Chaz before Chaz started dating his ex-girlfriend. He says he knows his daughter's killer. They were friends and even were roommates at one point. He claims he never thought Chaz would do anything like that. He quote, and I quote, this is what he says, you don't know no better when you live together. He says he thinks Chaz had a problem. And because he is a big guy, Chaz knew he couldn't be him, so he took the only thing he quote-unquote loved. All right, guys, so I'm going to leave you with my thoughts and opinions and some other details that I didn't tell you in the beginning of the story. Ivy was supposedly, when she went missing, the only thing she was wearing was a blue pull-up diaper, but you know those blue pull-ups. I don't know what the weather was out there in Topeka at that time, but that's supposedly what she had. Also, the mother and her kids was living with Stephens. The apartment that they were in, it was his apartment. And I wanted to ask the father, what did he mean by Chaz had a problem? And also, I say it all the time. I hate when these parents or family members come out the woodworks and start wanting to give quotes and speak on the news when these babies are killed and murdered. Where the fuck were y'all when they were getting tortured? Where were you then? This baby is 2 years old. And then another thing I'm noticing, because I've been doing like real research. Y'all know usually I come on here and just talk out my ass. But I want to do this the right way when I'm telling these stories. All these little girls I notice when they get killed, it's in the months of March, April, and sometimes May. I don't know why, but literally there's none that I found that's in different months. It's in March, April, and May. And I don't know if that's just a coincidence, but that's kind of creepy to me. And I also wanted to ask him, what did he mean by he knew he couldn't beat me, so he took it out on the only thing that I loved? Like, what happened between him and Chaz? Like, was there an issue? Like, he didn't elaborate on that. And it's clear that this freaking demon who killed this baby was a junkie. And I wanted to know, how long was that methamphetamine in her system? Like, I don't know. And they didn't elaborate more. I couldn't find any more articles on if the father or if Chaz said there was, when he said there were other people involved, what he meant by that. Researching this story left me with a lot of questions, but again, I don't see a lot of this little girl. Y'all may have seen her locally in y'all area, but I don't see a lot of articles on her, so I just wanted to tell her story. This is just sick, and I know a lot of people aren't connecting, I should say, with these stories I'm doing lately, but this is what I started off with. I switched to celebrity commentary because I wanted to drive interviews. It's really sad that when you're doing something that lacks substance, that brings more people to it. But when you're doing something with substance, a lot of folks they don't care. I'm just sick of hearing about these stories where these babies are dying at the hands of their mother's boyfriends. It's sickening. You have Trinity Love Jones. I'm going to do a story on her, and I think I'm going to talk about that on camera with my daughter. When I was doing the research, I was kissing Trinity's picture, and my daughter was getting like a little jealous. And I don't talk to, like, my daughter, her life is unicorn and rainbows. She knows nothing about nothing that's dangerous, hurtful, harmful. I protect her from a lot. So I told her what happened, and she was just like shocked. So I want to talk about that with her on camera. She's the same age as Trinity, 9. As we all know, the mother was arrested as well because she helped this man kill her baby. The only thing with Trinity, and the reason why it draws me more to her story, is because with all these other little girls, there were signs and visible bruises on them with different healing stages. With Trinity, there was no sign of neglect or abuses on her body beforehand. So I really want to dig and see. You can never know why murderers kill, but it was just weird. Like every girl that I've done research on, they all had bruises, and CPS was involved prior to this. So with Ivy's case, CPS claims that they can't tell me if there were any reports made before she died. However, I did check and on the mother in that house. It was 16 calls to the police in the past 2 years. But the police claim none of those calls involved children. So that's why there was no need to investigate any abuse for the children. Again, this story is just sad, and it seems like it's getting worse, and worse. Again, my BBs, please love, protect, and honor all children. They are our future. Ivy, rest in paradise, my beautiful little angel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.